The 24-25 NHL season still has a new car smell, and the action is heating up at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first timers to get started at DraftKings Sportsbook. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. For example, tonight, Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway return to Edmonton for the first time since signing their offer sheets in the summer. The line set for the game, plus 230 for the Blues, minus 285 for the Oilers.
And if you are new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to episode 105 of the Tundra Cast. I got Nick with me.
Hello.
And a lot has happened since our last podcast. We were supposed to record like on Monday or Tuesday. Good thing we waited. Really good thing we waited because the Four Nations face-off rosters came out. We'll talk about that. But also, Jacob Trouba has been sent to the Anaheim Ducks. Which
interesting.
No
trade.
one expected.
I mean,
this.
he's been in rumors for the last, I guess, maybe like week or so. I don't know. We'll see about Kreider because he's been in some rumors too. Detroit was in on him. Columbus was in on him. Detroit getting him would have been hilarious,
really
just
funny.
because it's just another washed defenseman to add to their core of washed defensemen. But no, Anaheim, honestly, I think it's good value. I mean, for Anaheim's perspective, I mean, or I guess the Rangers' perspective, you get rid of an $8 million defenseman who's been declining quite a bit. His playoff last year was pretty horrible.
Oh yeah.
Just kind of showed signs of what he would be this season. And Euro Vakanainen, that's good asset management for the Ducks. I think they got him off of waivers from Boston.
Yeah.
So, and he's throwing a 4th round pick as a little sweetener there. So, the Rangers, they get some cap off. They also signed Shesterkin, 11.5 by 8 years. I was really hoping to get like 13 or 14 mil. You know what I mean? Because he's like, oh yeah, or his camp was like, yeah, he's the best player. He should be making more than Panarin, but now he's not. So, but anyways,
It's a lot of money.
It's a fine trade.
It's a lot of money for a goalie, first of all. But yeah. I mean, I don't know why Anaheim took the full cap hit. Like, I know you're not going to be competitive probably for the next year or two, but I don't know, man. I would have at least tried to get back a draft pick because that contract's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has like another 2 years
left. No, I agree.
Or something.
Is it another 2 years?
Something like that. He has a year or two left. I know that, but and like. I feel like it blocks some of their younger players. Tristan Luneau, Noah Warren. Who else? I mean, I think they've been scratching him in Yukov.
Zellweger.
Yeah, Zellweger. Yeah. They've been scratching him in Yukov lately. Like.
Yeah. Anaheim's just kind of a mess. They're a weird team. I mean, they're still really young. I mean, guys like Carlson are. He's starting to kind of become he's starting to kind of develop a little bit for the Ducks at least, and Cutter Gauthier is off to a very, very slow start, or at least he was. And then you got Trevor Zegras, who is just depressed on that team. He really needs to leave.
He needs a new address. He needs to get out of there.
He really needs to get out of there, honestly. He like re-injured himself on an on-contact play as well, and it was just kind of a horrible sight to see. So, interesting trade from both sides. I think Gudas and Trouba on the same core is pretty interesting, to be honest. Like, I don't know, man. But Trouba, yeah. And the whole thing coming out as well with the Rangers players or with Trouba himself kind of saying that them putting me on waivers or threatening to put me on waivers was a threat. It's a bit of a loophole to be like, if you're not going to accept a trade on your list, then we're just going to waive you. Like, I don't know how you feel about that. I can definitely see that point
I
of
can see
being
his
like,
point.
yeah, we're just gonna, yeah, I mean, like we're just gonna put you on waivers and then you can just go to wherever team. You know what I mean? So
Because they did the same thing to Barclay Goodrow, right? In the summer.
that's right.
They tried to trade him with San Jose. He didn't want to go back to San Jose. They put him on waivers, and obviously the Sharks claimed him. And like, I wouldn't be surprised if the NHLPA does maybe try to investigate this. I don't think it will go anywhere, but like, I do think it's something to look into, and hell, maybe change something to CBA. You know, like you said,
Yeah.
it's a loophole that teams might start to exploit now.
I was gonna say this next CBA is probably gonna be loaded with topics here
Yeah.
because I feel like even in the last since the turn of the decade, really, there's just been tons of stuff coming out. The whole like LTIR thing in the playoffs as well. It's just like it's nuts, man. There's a ton
Yeah.
that's being exposed here. So I mean, I could definitely see it. There's a whole story about it, about players kind of feeling like they've been mistreated with the Rangers, and I can totally see that when you bring up Goudreau being waived. I don't think he was very appreciative of that. I don't think he
No.
came out after and was like, yeah, that's kind of bullshit, you know. So I totally feel him.
And yeah, like, we'll see
But
what
as
happens.
a hockey trade, we'll see. Yeah, as a hockey trade, we'll see. I don't know if Vakanainen's going to do much with the Rangers. He's kind of more just like a depth piece on the decor, but
Yeah.
it needed to be done to clear up some cap. So at least the Rangers did fine with that. We'll see what happens with Kreider. I mean, Zibanejad's been on a very slow start as well. We'll see with him. So
I'd expect Braden Schneider to get more minutes now on the right side, because he's kind of been blocked there, and obviously, I mean, you're not touching Adam Fox on the first pair. So yeah, interesting trade. Kind of came out of nowhere. I think at like 7:30 a.m. my time. So yeah, shocking. Did not expect this to happen. And I know they tried to move Trouba too during the offseason to like Detroit, and I don't think he wanted to go to Detroit, which is funny because he's from there. But yeah. So we'll see what comes out of this. The Rangers are playing tonight actually against Pittsburgh. So
yes, they are.
If they lose this game, I mean, who knows what can happen next? Like you said, Kreider could be available. You know, maybe a guy like Zibanejad gets dealt. Well, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it seems like they're ready to make a lot of moves. I think they're like. It's against the teams that are like firmly in the playoffs right now, or at least like if the whole if season ended thing today, like there aren't like a thing I've noticed about the standings this year is that there aren't very many like actually really good teams. There's kind of a lot of mid, but and the Rangers are losing to the really good teams, so they're part of that mid pack, and they obviously don't want to be in that mid pack. It's a big year for them. They like I said, they just re-signed Shesterkin and they just traded away their captain. So, you would think if things were going, the other way for them that this wouldn't happen. But obviously, something needed to change in New York. So, we'll see if that lights a fire for them. We'll see if more players get moved, like Kreider, like Zibanejad, and whoever else. So, it's gonna be an interesting time for the Rangers for sure.
Yep. And speaking about interesting times, 2 months from now we got the Foreign Nations face-off, which I don't know if a lot of people are gonna watch it, to be honest. Like, I think you should have teams like I understand why Russia's not there, but man, there's like so many good players that aren't gonna play. You look at Draisaitl, you look at guys like Kuch and like Kopitar, and like guys like those. They should be playing this tournament and they won't, which sucks.
I was talking about this with someone the other day. I really want to see what a Team North America would look like in today's NHL.
Yes.
8 years ago, that team was loaded with talent, and even guys like Gostisbehere who kind of fell off and then kind of came back. Right, like it's just a loaded team, and even like Team Europe was just like kind of a fun team to have. They made it all the way to the final, just like like you mentioned, guys like Draisaitl, Kopitar, whoever else. Right, so. This tournament's interesting. I don't even really know when it's supposed to start. I had no idea it was coming up so quick.
Yeah.
But it's you know what? It's a nice little sweetener before we get the Olympics, because we just haven't had World Cup of Hockey. We haven't had the Olympics, from the NHL for a long time now. So, it's kind of a nice little addition. We'll see how the tournament plays out, though. I'm sure it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Looking at these rosters, there's a couple teams that stick out. It's really Sweden and USA, especially the US, and they left off Tage Thompson and Cole Caulfield.
Yeah.
So, Canada's goaltending. I mean,
Canada's goaltending. I mean, like, I mean, it's not good. Let's put it that way. I mean, like, you do have 2 cup winners there, and Aiden Hill and Jordan Binnington, and Sam Multiple has actually been pretty good in Montreal, despite how bad that defense is.
Yeah.
Like it's like Colton Parayko and Travis Konechny and Sam Bennett, like even like Seth Jarvis to an extent. Like, do they really need to be on the team? Are they?
I don't get Pareko at all. I don't understand that one. I think it's Doug Armstrong's part of the the choosing, isn't he? So like I don't know. Konechny, I can kind of see. I do think he's quite a good player, and like Sam Bennett has been kind of resurgent with Florida. He was a pretty important part of that team, but I mean, there are just there's some names on here that were left off that probably should have been on. I guess Nick Suzuki was, I guess apparently he like rejected going to the Four Nations, which was weird. And Hockey Canada wasn't happy about that or something like I don't know. Just a whole bunch of nonsense going on the Hockey Canada.
Mark Scheifele isn't on here.
Yeah, Mark Scheifele. I brought up Matt Duchene recently.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, he's been playing like the best hockey of his career the last couple of seasons. So I was kind of surprised. Like I feel like he would be a decent add to this team. You know, I've seen guys like they've talked about Brad Marchand, maybe not a part of this team, but I don't know. It's a weird team. I don't know if I totally like it. Shea Theodore always leaves a poor taste in my mouth because I firmly believe that if he just skated a couple extra feet, that he would have been able to stop Cujo's Game 7, overtime winner. It still pains me to this day watching that highlight.
Mm-hmm.
But no Evan Bouchard as well, which a lot of people were surprised. I'm not as surprised. I don't know what you think, being the Oilers fan.
I mean, put it this way, like guys like Hyman and Skinner didn't deserve to be on here with how bad they started.
Yeah.
Completely see that. I really wanted Bouchard on a team. I can see why I didn't take him. It kind of Jay Fresh brought up a good point, right? In 2014, the Olympic team didn't bring Chris Letang and they brought PK Subban instead simply because, while Letang is a very, very good offensive guy, sometimes he does have those defensive lapses. And, Bouchard's basically the same way. Maybe just a bit better offensively. So I can see why. It sucks. But, to be honest, this is a nothing tournament. And I'd rather not send a lot of guys there because there's always a risk of injury. Back in 2014, DeVars got hurt during the Olympics. And that derailed the Islanders season that year, right? So, I rather... It sucks not being represented there, but I'd rather the guy get the rest. So I don't think it's that big of a deal as many people are thinking it to be. If it was the Olympics, and maybe I would be a bit more mad, but it's a fun little tournament. He didn't make it. It's kind of whatever. I want to point out Sweden. We're talking about omissions. William Eklund was omitted, which shocked me.
Yeah, he's probably the best player on the Sharks, apart from Celebrini, of course. But and we're saying that he's 18, 19 years old. But that was a bit of a weird one too. He is legit.
Yeah.
On that Sharks team. So is Zetterlund on here? I didn't see Zetterlund on here.
I don't think so. Zetterlund's not on here. No.
No. So interesting little decisions there.
And by the way, I had Eklund ranked first in my mock draft, so happy to see him succeed so well. I think I had my mock draft was weird in 2021. I had Johnson in 3 or 4. I think Power was I don't even think Power's in my top 5. I don't know.
I think I had Power second. Beniers was definitely number 1 for me. I can remember that, but
yeah,
I don't remember where anyone else was. I think Stan Coven was 16th or something, 15th
oh wow,
for me.
You had
which was
Intel
kind
on
of
Stan
cool.
Coven, yeah.
Yeah, apparently. So I got to pull up that list. It's all on my. I switched profiles on my laptop recently just because I had everything on the first one was just loaded with crap. It was all slow, so I switched it over. So I got to go back to the old one to find that out. But anyways,
and then I guess talk about Finland a little bit here. The defense sucks. We'll put it that way.
It's bad.
it's Heiskanen, Lindell, and everyone else. Forwards honestly aren't bad. The top line of Rantanen, Barkov, and Aho, that's sick.
That's a crazy line.
And line A, and you can have line A, Hintz, and Teravainen on your second line. That's pretty good. I don't know why Joe Armia's there.
I have no idea. I saw that name and I was like, really?
Not Matthias Michelli or but whatever. Like I said, we'll see what happens. I'm not gonna be watching much of it, to be honest with you. I'll tune in maybe here and there, but it's whatever.
We'll see how it is. I mean, it might be kind of cool to tune in from now and again, like you said, but maybe at least like the Canada games. But
Yeah.
for everything else, it's just kind of like eh. I like to see Line on there because I think I thought that'd be a nice little confidence booster, and he's playing really well in Montreal. His
Oh,
first
he is,
couple of
yeah.
games, got his first couple goals. Also, Capo Caco on that team is kind of a weird addition
Yeah.
for me. I just don't see him more as a more than a role player at this point. So I mean, he's still got time, but it just kind of makes you wonder what would have happened if the Rangers ended up getting Lafreniere like the very next year. So
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Next up, another big trade. This one was kind of rumored for a while. David JIRCIEK going to
a little
Minnesota.
bit.
I don't know how Columbus fucked this up this badly. I don't know how.
I don't know. I think it's all Waddell, and Waddell wasn't there when they drafted him, so he doesn't really have that
Connection. Yeah.
Exactly. He doesn't have that connection, and so he's. I don't know if he was totally aware of the risks at the time or whatever, but they just weren't playing him, and I don't really know why, right? Because he's a good prospect. I mean, even still, his 6th overall pick and there's tons of upside, and just he has a lot of potential to be really good in this league. But it's just a gain for Minnesota. They have one of the best prospect pools in the NHL, and now you get this guy, and like that's just a win for Minnesota.
And they didn't really trade anyone that notable. I mean, Damon Hunt's a fine prospect. I don't know if he's anything more than like a high-end third pair guy though.
Yeah, I think the main thing for Columbus were those draft picks.
Yeah.
And with Damon Hunt, if you need to move a defenseman up and down, you can move him up and down without him going through waivers. So maybe that was important for the Jackets or whatever, but without pissing someone off like David Jiricek, who's one of your best prospects. But yeah, I mean, going forward for Minnesota, their defense looks really nasty. They got Faber there. If Jiricek hits his potential, like that's just a crazy top pairing there, right? So I think they still have Jake Middleton, if I'm not mistaken. I keep thinking he's on the Sharks though for some reason.
He was on the Sharks. He was, yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyways, Minnesota's looking really good. They're a really good team this year. I think they're top of the division now. Winnipeg kind of fell off a little bit, and now you get it to kind of untap some potential and a really good development system there the last few years. So they have Judd Brackett who's drafted really well.
Yeah.
Bill Guerin's done a really good job there so far, and I'm excited to see what he can bring to that team. I think there could be a fit there for sure.
And like you mentioned Faber, you mentioned Jiricek. They also got Zeev Buiam. They got Aaron Kiviharu. Sorry, not.
Oh
Yokiharu.
man,
like
yeah.
They still got Brodin, right? Like it's really.
Yeah.
Don't they have Carson Lambos as well? I think they
do, but he's kind of fallen off a little bit. He's not really that same, elite prospect that he was coming through junior. But I mean, that's still another guy, potential player in the NHL, right? Like this is basically what we saw Anaheim as, right? When they had Luno and stuff, like coming through, and Zellweger and Minchikov. So yeah, that's a crazy team, crazy back end.
Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, I think they called him up, so he should be playing games soon. And I mean, I think that's all he really wants. He wants playing time. He wants ice time. And yeah, Minnesota's gonna be scary, man, in the future because they got Liam Ogren. They drafted Yurov. Man, they're gonna be really good. They're gonna be really good in the future. And like Wallstead in the back, like
yeah,
they're set, man. They're set everywhere. It's not fair.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I think I can't remember the buyouts for Suter if they have it still.
They have it still, but like
it's gonna be expiring soon.
It decreases to $700K each next off season, so they're gonna have both loads of cap space to work with too. So yeah. I mean, listen, I clown on Minnesota for those buyouts. They navigated through it pretty well, and now they have such a bright future and. Hopefully, like, there's no way they're not gonna be mid anymore, right? One would think like there's no way they're gonna stay mid.
No, I think the days of Minnesota are done. At least you would think. I mean, who knows? I mean, Buffalo's still crap after 14 years, so you just never know. But you would think that on paper, though, like they're up and coming. They have now one of the best pools, or if not the best pool in the NHL. So,
next up, did not expect 3 coach firings. At all to start the season. Another reason why it was a good idea to delay the podcast because the day we were supposed to do it, Chicago fired what's his face, Luke Richardson, and they brought up their NHL coach. So No, let's start with Boston. And we can tie in St. Louis too, because I mean Montgomery's tied into that. It's not Jim Montgomery's fault that Boston
No.
sucks.
No,
Like,
not at all.
no, like Don Sweeney giving a combined like 16 million to Zadorov and Lindholm and not filling out the bottom six, and absolutely butchering the Swayman Olmark situation. Like, it's all on him, and I don't
Yeah.
know how he's still there. He's fired like 4 coaches. He's fired Claude Julien. He's fired Cassidy. He fired Montgomery. Like, how many? Like, I don't understand why he's still there. I don't.
No, I have no idea. I apart from the whole boys club mentality, which is a big thing in Boston, I couldn't tell you. It really should be Sweeney that should have gone. Kind of similar to what I said about the Leafs when they fired what's his name, the old GM. Oh, Dubas. Sorry, why did I forget his name? Like, kind of like when they fired Dubas, I really thought they should have fired Keefe. But it's kind of the opposite situation here. Like, it's really not Jim Montgomery's fault. That guy's a great coach. You can see that he's a great coach.
Oh,
and I really think that's such a premature decision. Like, that guy brought you to like one of the best seasons, if not the best season, and if I remember correctly, in NHL history, like 2 years ago. I'm sure they lost in the first round, but like he's just been so good everywhere. I really don't understand it, and good job for St. Louis kind of capitalizing on that, even if it affected their head coach as well. But like, that's a proven winner, So
And I mean, like, speaking about St. Louis, they're 4-0-1 since hiring Montgomery, and like that's not a good team. Like, St. Louis is not good. And like, you're seeing the effects it's having right now, and I mean, like, even last year, like Montgomery, like, let's be honest, on paper, Boston was not a great team last year. Morgan Geekie was in their top 6. JVR was a third liner. Matt Grzelcyk, who sucks, was in their top 4, and like they got a top 2 spot in the Atlantic, and like they
made it past the first round. They beat the Leafs again.
Yeah, and like they pushed Florida to 6, and that Florida team is damn good, right? So they like. I don't understand, and like even Boston fans are still pissed off, and it's not even like Boston has done that well since firing Montgomery. I think they're 500 or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. So, listen, I don't know, and like that team, it's gonna continue to get worse. Like, they have no up and coming prospects besides Fabian Lysell and like maybe Mason Lohrei. The prospect pool sucks there. So like, what are you going to do? You're going to fire Joe Sacco in like 2 years because the team sucks when, he's not the one making decisions. So
yeah, they need some new guys in the background there. It's they've had their moments. Like, they made the cup final against the Blues, funny enough, but they didn't win the cup. But they when you go back to even like 2015, everyone always brings up the 2015 draft, like, and it's not even the fact that the first 3 picks they had in the first round they missed on. They also traded away the pick that ended up being Kirill Kaprizov.
That too, yeah.
Which is just hilarious. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Boston's just in a world of hurt, of their own doing. So
and like we said, St. Louis is benefiting from it, and man, like it might have been a scum move to fire Drew Bannister 20 games into his contract. I think it was like the fastest coach firing, like the fastest coach firing or something like that in NHL history, or one of them.
Yeah, that sucks. But like, when you have a chance to get a coach like that, it's like, oh shoot, now this guy's available, right? So, and he's doing well, as you mentioned.
It's the Vegas mentality, right? Vegas killed, they didn't kill, but like, they threw away Pete DeBoer as soon as Cassidy was available, and look, it got them a cup. Now, I'm not saying Jim Montgomery's going to take St. Louis to a cup final this year, but with a bunch of the young players they have, I mean, Thomas is still young, Kyrie's still young. They added Broberg and Holloway, who are coming back to Edmonton tomorrow. I'll be at that game. Dalibor Dvorsky. They just drafted Jimmy Snuggerud, will be up in a few years. They got Zach Balduke. There's a lot of young guys in St. Louis. I think Montgomery's going to be the perfect coach there. He's going to be like the perfect mentor for them. So, like I said, I applaud St. Louis for being that aggressive. I think it's gonna help out so much in the end. And like I said, it's really paying off right now. They're 4-0-1 since. in Chicago, I don't know what they were expecting this season, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
like I get it. You brought back Teravainen. You brought in Bertuzzi. You brought in guys like Martinez. You brought in Maroon. You made a lot of changes. On paper, yeah, you're a better team than last year. But you're still bad. And I don't know why Richardson got the axe, because the team sucks. So
Yeah.
I'm confused on why they fired him.
That's a tough fire as well. I tweeted about this. I brought up the fact that Connor Bedard in his second season in junior in Regina was I had a bit of a slow start that year. He was putting up, somewhat a point per game, maybe even a little bit less. And Regina weren't really a very good team the 3 years he was there, but he was just putting up 2 points per game in a shortened 12-game season the year before as a 15-year-old, and they had a coaching change midway through that year, or even like around this stage of the year, and he finished with 100. So maybe you're just doing this for Bedard. Maybe you're doing this to get the best out of him. We all know how good Bedard is and can be, right? Like he's potential generational star. He's one of the best prospects to come through the NHL, and for a few years now, and maybe just need that sort of spark to kind of get the best of him. I mean, I feel like management's kind of done what they've tried in the offseason. They've kind of brought in some pieces that help support Bedard. It hasn't really quite worked out so far. They're still pretty bad. But maybe that's what this is all about, really. I mean, just trying to get the best out of him. You need him to perform.
Yeah.
And you need him to get out of that slump. He had like a 12-game scoreless slump, which I don't know if he's ever had that ever in his life.
Which is crazy to think about,
you gotta know. You gotta think about how that feels and how it looks on the team too, right? So you want him to play well. He's your future star. So, again, another like harsh fire, but if you're looking at it from that way, it's one of those things that you maybe have to just try something else and try a different spark and see what happens, and then just wait for the off season to see if anything opens up for when the coaching carousel really begins in the off season, kind of looking at another option there. So
like I think someone like I'm still a big Jay Woodcroft fan. I thought Jay Woodcroft would have been a perfect fit for that Chicago team. Like, admittedly, I don't know who Andreas Sorensen is at all, so I can't speak about how good of a coach he is and how what his style and systems are. I can't tell you anything about that. But like you said, it's probably an indictment of let's get Bedard going here, And yeah, we'll see how it affects Chicago. If Bedard gets going and Chicago is somewhat competitive, maybe Sorensen stays. We'll see. I'm kind of shocked they didn't go back with Derek King. He was the interim when they fired Jeremy Colleton like 3 years ago, and I think the Hawks are like a 500 team under him. So, kind of shocked they didn't go that direction, but whatever. And yeah, we'll see if there's more coaching changes in the future. I would not be surprised if Nashville fires their coach. We have Nashville on the slides. I know San Jose's next. Let's just jump into Nashville right now just to tie it in.
all right.
Is there anything better than attending an NHL game live? I don't think so. All the endless action, the hits, the shots, the goals, the brawls, everything you can think about in a hockey game, while players are going a million miles per hour.
My favorite memory of an NHL game was when the Oilers played the Rangers on November 2021, and up front I saw Connor McDavid pull off the best goal I've ever seen live. Do you want to watch an NHL game live, or maybe an NBA, NFL game, or maybe you want to attend a concert or a show or something else? Well, then use Game Time. Game Time allows you to find better deals on sports, concerts, and more by creating the best deals for you. There are many ways to save money on tickets, no matter when or where you buy it. Game Time Picks shows you only the best values on tickets, including last-minute deals on tickets right up to the start of the event, and even an hour after it starts.
For example, on Tuesday, December 10th, Tampa Bay visits Rogers Place to play the Edmonton Oilers. Just go on the Game Time website, scroll through tickets.
Some of my favorite features on Game Time include getting a look of where you will sit before you buy with a view on seats on the app, And Game Time also guarantees you the lowest prices with excellent coverage. Take the hassle and the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time when you create an account using code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for your $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time.
All right.
I don't. Okay, yeah. Like, I would not be surprised if Andrew Burnett is fired here soon because they can't be this bad.
Yeah, this is one that is kind of justified, which is hilarious because we all said he'd win the Jack Adams. Which is not looking very good right now. Maybe we overestimated Nashville. You know, there's people out there that say, "Oh, I saw this coming along the whole time." Which did you really though?
Like, I had them third in the Central. I thought they were being slightly overrated, but I still thought they were for sure a playoff team.
Well, especially when they bring in even Marchessault's been like slow as well. I'm like, what's going on with you guys? Like, I kind of expected it from Stamkos. Injury history, not amazing in Tampa last year. I was really hoping he'd have a good year so he can kind of bitch slap the Lightning management a little bit. But I mean, it's just like even Marchessault's not playing well either, and like that was kind of a surprising one too because he's always been really good, especially on Vegas, and kind of broke out there. So it's weird. It's a weird situation in Nashville right now. Then you got Trotz coming out saying that he's gonna rebuild the team and whatever. I'm like, what could you do really? Like honestly.
You know what the funniest thing about this too is? Nashville has the number 1 PK in the league. Which is crazy.
That's ridiculous.
Their PK's 87.5.
That's ridiculous.
Their power play, let me see. I mean, it's not great. It's 20th and 19.1. But like, you see Saros, right? He's putting up like a 9.12 right now. His goals against average is like 2.6, which in the modern NHL is actually pretty good because goal scoring has went way up now. And yet they just can't score. Like Philip Forsberg has 17 points in 27 games. He has 9 goals.
That's bad for Forsberg.
Right? And like O'Reilly's taking that step back. Nyquist is nowhere close to where he was last year. And like I don't get it. And I mean, Trotz is guilty of this too. I mean, he's been making some dumb decisions. Like the Dante Fabro thing, like putting him on waivers. He's doing great in Columbus right now. They traded Tomasino to Pittsburgh. Look what Tomasino's been doing with Eyesight. Yeah. He's been producing, right?
Yeah, what a trade that was. Yeah.
Steal, right? So, like, I don't know what's going to happen here. Even some of their younger guys, like Zach LaRue, like, I know he's still, like, 21, 22, or whatever. I mean, 5 points in 22 games isn't great. Svechkov has a goal in 7 games. Like, their young guys aren't making any progress, and their older guys are falling off hard. Mm-hmm. There's a big problem here, and I really wish Rossi was here to talk about it because he would give way more. Like he would know way more than us. But like I don't know what you have to do besides fire Burnett to just jumpstart this team. There's not a trade that can fix this.
No, seriously. Yeah, you're right. Like they're trying to build their team through free agency. It didn't work, and now you're just kind of stuck with these guys that aren't producing for your team that you thought were gonna, jumpstart the team. And you have these young guys coming through, and Nashville has they had a pretty decent prospect pool coming in, right? And they're just not giving them any opportunity. You mentioned Tomasino; he's been scratched, sat, hasn't really played in the NHL much, and he was a good prospect, and he's playing well in Pittsburgh right now. So it's their loss, really. I mean, they're just mismanaging guys, and it's not looking good at all. I don't know how that PK is number 1. That's insane, but it's it's a weird one. They made that trade with they traded Wedgwood for Annunen. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's going to help them. That's I mean from what Rossi says, Montembeault wasn't, or not Montembeault, sorry, Wedgwood wasn't very good in Nashville. So I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to fix something. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a weird trade.
And I mean, like you said, like Trotz has been saying, like, hey, if we don't get going here, I'm gonna tear it down. But like, what pieces are valuable right now? Like, besides Forsberg and Yossi, who you're not trading. Like, you're not trading Saros. You're ready to trade Askarov. You're committed to Saros.
Yeah, no way.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
maybe Nyquist has some value still. I know that's
maybe
been kind of in the rumor wire a little bit.
like Carrier. Like, there's not much.
And like and they waived Dante Fabro as well,
which is dumb. Which is so dumb.
And playing well. Like, what's like? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Crazy. We'll see. Like, I don't expect them to make the playoffs, but like, they should be like around 500. I would think by like game 50. And maybe take it from there, take baby steps. But man, if they continue this trajectory, I don't see how Brunette is the coach for any longer. Like, Trotz like, that's the only thing you can do. Right? So
yeah, I don't.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Like, this is shocking to me, man. Like, they shouldn't be this bad. Speaking about a team that shouldn't be this bad, but they have been pretty. Okay, maybe not pretty good, but they're not ass. San Jose, Pittsburgh too. We'll get to Pittsburgh, but San Jose. I thought they were gonna be awful.
Me too.
They've been, dude. They can score. Like, they've been putting up like 8-goal games, like, consistently.
Dude, Celebrini, man. Celebrini has been really good, and there's even Celebrini over Bedard, comparisons now, and now Celebrini should be in the Four Nations and whatever. So, he's been a star on that team already, and it's been a storyline because they've been scoring a lot, and guys that we thought would be breaking out are breaking out. Guys like Eklund. Jake Wollman's been pretty good in San Jose, which is kind of expected, but I mean, I'm not sure why Detroit even got rid of him. But
they traded a second round pick to get rid of him, which is the funniest.
Exactly right. So,
yeah, I mean, Ashcroft's played some games there. He's looked good in the 2 games. Zetterlund's been a stud. Mikhail Granlund has like found new juice there. Apparently, like, he was so bad in Nashville, he was awful in Pittsburgh, and now he's like a point per game player.
It's like, oh wait, he's actually not a 4th line center. We can just play him on the 1st line actually and be fine. I don't know how it works, man. I don't get it.
Toffoli's found chemistry too with Celebrini, and Toffoli has 18 points in 29 games. Will Smith started off the season pretty slow, and now he's up to 11-24. Like, it's like they're such a fun team to watch. Like, Sportsnet's been playing like San Jose games now. I sit down and watch them. I'm like, holy shit, this team's fun to watch. Like, they got so much skill. Defensively, they definitely have their breakdowns, but that's what you expect from a young team, and a team that's playing Cody Ceci on their top pair. But yeah, man, like, I've been pleasantly surprised. I think they have like 8 or 9 wins at this point, which is awesome. Which good for them.
Not terrible. Not as bad. They started off the season really bad, but they've been picking it up.
Like, it was worse than last season. And last season they started off horrible. They had like let in 10 goals in back-to-back games. But no, like, this year they've been pretty good, and good for them. Like, they've been bad for so long. They deserve to see some light. They deserve to see some light at the end of the tunnel. And yeah, I mean, to your point about Celebrini being better than Bedard, I mean, I feel like the Bedard hype was like, there was so much Bedard hype that people kind of forgot about how good Celebrini was entering his draft year.
Yeah.
I mean,
I call it kind of the Celebrini syndrome a little bit, and that's kind of what I was looking at with Hagens too. Is that people don't kind of realize how good these guys were, and Celebrini especially was like insane for his age, going to the NCAA as young as he was, winning the Hobie Baker as young as he was. Like that's a player you don't come across very often, if not ever, right? I don't remember a prospect that had that pedigree to him, right? And even when he played at the World Juniors, as bad as Canada was that year, he was their best player. And apart from maybe their goaltender, I totally forget his name now, Matisse Rousseau, but he was probably the best skater on that team. So, good for him for jumping into the San Jose team and just becoming a star right away. And he grew up in California. His dad worked for the Golden State Warriors. We know that, right? So he's just having fun out there, man. That's awesome.
Living with Jumbo Joe, so living the life.
I mean, who doesn't love Jumbo Joe?
Yeah, exactly. What was I gonna say? To your point, I mean, like, I kind of feel like Jack Eichel had the same, like, had the same vibes heading to his draft. Everyone was so focused on Connor going number 1, and like people knew Jack Eichel was really good, and he was the de facto number 2, but people don't realize actually how good he was in his draft year.
He was awesome,
right? So,
but even to compare Celebrini from that, Celebrini was almost a full year younger.
Yeah,
that's how crazy it was, right? Same Boston University team, they're definitely comparable, but Eichel like kind of just missed the 2014 draft, and he would have been the first overall pick in that draft.
100%,
10 times out of 10, right? He was really good. I remember watching that draft and Craig Button being like, "This is no consolation prize for the Sabres. Like, this is a fantastic player you're getting here at number 2."
Yeah.
So it's not McDavid, but it's not.
It's pretty damn close. It's like the closest you can get. Hell, Matthews was 2 days away from being eligible for that draft too, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, imagine he was in that draft too. Oh my god.
Does Matthews go 3, or do you think he goes 2?
He probably goes 3, I would say. I think he goes ahead of Marner. I think he goes ahead of Strome. But
to Arizona
had so much pedigree to him, and Matthews was at the development program at that point too, right? So he didn't go to Switzerland yet. So
and that would have been his home state in Arizona, which great story. Man, I really wish that happened. Oh, that would have been like the best top 3 in NHL history.
Yeah, no kidding. That would have been awesome.
And final topic, some positive news for Nick here. The Penguins are rebounding somehow. I thought they were dead in the water.
Me too. You know what? They've won their last 4 games. They're playing against the Rangers now. Hopefully they compete against them as well. But we ended up getting Tomasino for really cheap. We got him for that 4th rounder. He's been really good. We've been able to give him that ice time because we just don't really score. We don't defend well at all. Owen Pickering's been a bit of a pleasant surprise too.
He's been good.
I've been kind of his biggest critic, to be honest, but he got his first goal the other night. He got his first point in his first game, and he's looked pretty solid out there from what I've heard. So I haven't watched a ton of Penguins, if I'm being honest. I'm watching more of my Knights, but from what I've heard, he's been definitely a pleasant surprise for sure. And then Ryan Graves hasn't really been playing, and they've been playing better without him, which who knew, right? Like, but no, it's been pretty solid. I mean, Jari's kind of started to rebound. I think Nedeljkovic is starting tonight. They put Blomqvist back in the AHL, but it's starting to kind of look like a team again, which is nice because we were bottom of the division. It looked really bad. No prospects coming up. We're like one of the worst positioned teams, along with Boston and whatnot. But no, it's looking good so far. So we'll see if they can continue this trend going into the new year. That would be huge. But yeah, just get out of the basement. We don't need to be in the basement right now. We got to please just play good for at least Crosby, Malkin, and Letang. Just please play good for them.
I mean,
please.
Hey, they're 1 point out of a playoff spot. New York has that.
That division's weird too. That division sucks.
Dude, the wild card is weird. Like the last place team in the East right now is Montreal with 23 points. They're 4 points out of a playoff spot. So like Detroit's still in the mix. Ottawa, Buffalo, those 3 teams who are like doomed to be bad forever, they're still in the mix, right? The Islanders with their fucking 8 overtime losses are
and they were ahead of us. I'm like, are you serious right now? You have 7 overtime losses and you're ahead of us. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
So like, Matt, like the East is fucking weird. It's weird.
Yeah, that division specifically is just awful. Like the Atlantic, I think it's the right term. I always forget the names of the division. The Leafs division. Anyways,
yeah.
They like at least that one's kind of starting to split up because that one was super weird too. Because like everyone was like split by 2 points, so that's kind of starting to separate itself. But the Metro is still just so weird. I don't even know.
It's Washington, New Jersey, Carolina. Everyone else like at the same place.
Pretty much. Yeah.
That's another thing too. I mean, I should have mentioned this during the Four Nations topic. Washington has 0 players there, which is weird because they're the best team in the East right now.
Yeah, Logan Thompson, that would have been a good goalie.
I think
to bring along.
Strome's been having a great year. I thought maybe
he's been awesome.
He could have snuck onto Team Canada. Speaking about the 2015 draft, man, and like fuck, I mean Ovi too, man. Like I know he's hurt right now, but he was on fire.
He's so close to breaking that record, man. I really hope he does.
I still think he's gonna do it this season. I'm like, he's been skating. He looks pretty good out there. I still think he'll break it this year, and I mean that's gonna be a great story when it does happen. And yeah, anything else to talk about, or do we just wrap it up here?
I don't think so. I think we kind of covered everything that we needed to, anyways. I think there's a couple stories, we don't even talk about, but I think apart from that, I think that's pretty much it. Kind of a loaded November, which is typically a boring month for myself, but I mean,
got tons of news.
Some interesting stories there. Yeah, tons of news.
Yeah. So let us I can't talk. Let us know your guys' thoughts. Ryan and Nick should have a mock draft here in the next little while.
Oh yeah, we got the World Junior Camps that starts Monday as well.
So you guys will have something there. And yeah, we'll be back next month if anything major happens in December. I expect there will be. There's usually a lot of big news around this time. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.